When you talk about Ape Escape, one thing that can't be avoided is the control scheme. Ape Escape has one of the most unique and interesting control schemes out of all the games on the original PlayStation. Ape Escape was released December of 1999, a year after the release of the DualShock on the PlayStation. It should be noted that this game cannot be played without the DualShock controller. You move Spike around with the left analog stick, and with the right analog stick, you use your gadgets. That's right, you don't press some face button to use your weapons. Nope, you use the analog stick, and in the direction you press is the direction that Spike takes it. Different gadgets work differently. For example, to control the Skyflyer, you have to rotate the right analog stick very fast to send Spike flying into the sky. It's also good for descending slowly. To use the RC car, you click the right analog stick to make the car appear and then move it around by moving the analog stick. It's an interesting sensation. It's like controlling two characters at once, which you don't see that often in video games, except for maybe The World Ends With You. The Super Hoop works in a similar fashion. By rotating the stick, it starts the hoop spinning, allowing Spike to move at a fast speed while being practically invincible to enemy attacks. To use the sling back shooter, you simply pull back on the analog stick, tilt it to aim, and then release. Or you can go into first person by holding down R2 and then pull back and release, targeting with the aimer. Of course, possibly the two most important gadgets in the entire game are the stun club and the gacha net. The club is used to take out close by enemies. By tilting the stick, Spike will attack in that direction, or you can spin it for a Zelda-like spin attack. The gacha net works in the same fashion. Make no mistake, you'll need each and every one of these gadgets to complete the game. Oh, I almost forgot one of the most important gadgets, the monkey radar. By tilting the stick in certain directions, you'll use the radar, and if there's a monkey in that direction, it'll glow red and make a noise. Extremely useful in finding your way around certain levels. Then there's a special gadget, the water net, which only becomes available once you're in the water. Just click the right analog stick to shoot out nets. There are also vehicles in this game, though not nearly as many as there are in future Ape Escape games. The first vehicle, which I hate, wait, hate isn't a strong enough word, I loathe, is the raft. The raft is pointless. It's only there because there are dangerous enemies in the water. You control the right oar by rotating the right stick, and the left oar by rotating the left stick. It feels awkward, it feels stupid, and I wish it wasn't in the game at all. There are a bunch of times when I can actually completely avoid using the raft by just trying to swim around the enemies. The other vehicle in the game, which is actually pretty fun, is the tank. You control each tread by tilting the right and left analog sticks. If you want to go left, you tilt the right stick. If you want to go right, you tilt the left stick. It sounds complicated, but it's actually not that bad. If you want to go straight, you tilt both sticks. It can feel a little awkward, but once you get used to it, it's not that bad. You can also fire explosive rounds, and even go into first person for better targeting. The platforming is pretty solid in this game. Occasionally you'll miss a jump or two, but thanks to the fact you always have a double jump, and you get the Skyflyer later in the game, it makes it a very enjoyable platforming experience. And the levels are fairly well designed. Sadly, the only way to readjust the camera is by pressing L1 to fully readjust it behind Spike. This is pretty much the only way to compensate for using the other analog stick for just using gadgets. Still, I've beaten the game several times, and even though the camera can sometimes be a pain, it doesn't bother me that much. The music in Ape Escape is at the very least memorable. Lots of energetic, rhythmic music plays throughout the game. It's not the best quality you'll find on the PlayStation, but it's certainly entertaining enough. Every Ape Escape game has had completely different voice actors, which is both a good and bad thing. At first I was infuriated that the voices have been changed in Ape Escape 2, but now that I go back and replay Ape Escape nowadays...
Are you really going?
Yeah, I've gotta catch Spectre.
I'm going with you. Ouch.
No. It's better if you go back and help the professor. You need to regain your strength. The professor will need your protection.
But...
Spectre, what's going on here? What are you planning to do?
Spectre, oh yes.
You're the monkey that performs at the amusement park.
What? He's that cute little monkey that everyone loves to come and see? But how?
The voice actors, well, they're better than Resident Evil levels, but still not that good. They don't have that much emotion, but I do appreciate Spectre having a whiny, I must have my way voice. Not to mention, a few of the lines they deliver actually works for the cheesy nature of the game. Like at this point where Spike is telling Spectre why he can't control him.
Power alone isn't the true strength. Well, something like that.
There's several other features in Ape Escape as well. After you've completed the game and defeated Spectre, you unlock Time Trial mode. I have yet to get all gold or platinum medals on that game, but I just don't feel like it. Also, there are Spectre coins hidden throughout the game. Collecting a certain amount of Spectre coins unlocks 3 minigames: monkey boxing, a skiing minigame, and a space shooter game. The skiing game isn't all that fun. The graphics are abysmal, and the controls aren't that tight. The boxing game is pretty much the same. Slightly better graphics, they're not parappa-the-rappa paper-thin style like the skiing game, but it's not that easy to play, and it just doesn't feel fun. The only minigame in this game that's worth playing is the top-down space shooter shmup. Plus, it's 2 players, so you can play with your friend, and thanks to the fact that you fire with the analog stick, you can shoot in any direction you want. There aren't that many enemies, but it's worth playing. Okay, let's finish it up by talking about the apes themselves and the enemies that you'll have to fight in this game. The enemies come in all kinds of different varieties. There's the walking onions, the spinning top armors, the flying enemies that shoot fire, the enemies that pop out of the ground and shoot at you, the evil snowmen. I'm not sure if there was ever an explanation for these crazy things. I'm guessing they're probably bioweapons created by Spectre to stop Spike. At least that's the cool explanation. And then there's the bosses. The bosses. Nothing says you're a successful boss fight like a giant red-green button that says, "Screw me." Okay, to be fair, the boss fights are actually fun. They're not that intimidating, and they don't really evolve to get more intricate patterns later on, well, the Spectre fights being exceptions. But they're still highly enjoyable, and I feel a great sense of satisfaction after that giant armor or that huge airship falls in a huge ball of fire. Alright, I've saved the best for last. One of the things that makes Ape Escape such a fun game is, well, capturing the apes. And they don't all behave the same way or do the same things. Each ape has his own unique speed, aggressiveness, and sense of his surroundings. By clicking down on the left analog stick, you'll send Spike into a crouch and he'll crawl on the ground being quiet. You can capture approximately 60 to 70% of the apes in the game just by sneaking up on them. Of course, some of them may be harder to do because they'll have special goggles that allow them to see you from faraway distances. To know if the ape senses your presence, all you have to do is look at the light on their pinpoint helmet. Blue means they have no idea you're there. Yellow means they think you're there, but they don't know where you are. And red means they are completely aware of your current location and are ready to run or attack you. The apes will retaliate by shooting machine guns at you, getting into flying saucers and flying around while blasting you, riding dinosaurs, riding woolly mammoths with machine gun turrets built on top, jumping into the water, climbing away from you, or just downright scratching your face off with their bare hands. If there's one thing I can promise you is that you will be frustrated in this game. You just think you've gotten close enough to the ape, you swing your net, and then they scratch your chest to pieces. However, I love this concept. It was original for its time. I mean, think about it. Back when it came out, we had games where you just ran around collecting items or just tried to get to the end of the level, period. This was new, it was different. It was something the 3D platformer desperately needed, and it was greatly underappreciated by the American audience. If you've never played any of the Ape Escape games, this is definitely the one you need to start with. Its graphics are pretty bad, the voice acting isn't great, the music pales in comparison with a lot of other games on the platform, but the game has got it where it counts. The fun factor is way up there. But don't think I'm done yet. This is the beginning of a series. I'm gonna look through every single Ape Escape game in existence. That's right, you heard me, every single last one of them. Join me next time where we'll examine a very interesting spin-off to the series that was only released in Japan. I think you'll be surprised at what it is.